Welcome to the Claritas 2025 CultureCode Demographic Updates webinar. This is a very exciting update for our CultureCode Demographics because we have some new models to share with you this year. So I want to talk you through the details of these. So to give you a quick overview, we do have new models for LGBT, religion, and Workday demographics this year. These new models incorporate fresh sources, which give us improved estimates. And there are substantive changes to the data sets this year. So comparison to previous estimates is not recommended in this case because these models are so different. So I'm going to start out talking about the LGBT data. So our new sources include the American Community Survey, or the ACS, and the Household Pulse Survey. And the main changes to note here are that we are now specifying that the LGBT population is specifically age 18 plus in households only. And the reason for that is because the American Community Survey and the Household Pulse Survey data that's related to this is only for households. It does not cover people in group quarters facilities. So we wanted to specify that really is based on the household information because we don't have a way to estimate the LGBT population beyond that. So as a result, we do have some new metadata to incorporate that change, and I will take you through that on the next slide. But the benefits here are that we are really doing a better job accounting for the LGBT population with these sources. And these have put us more in line with several other reputable sources at a national scale. So you'll see that as well. So that's great news. So for the metadata, now this is available as an Excel spreadsheet. If you'd like a copy of that, go ahead and reach out to your Claritas representative and they can provide that to you. But you'll see here on the slide that we have a column for the change, the data element name, which is the variable name coming out of our platforms. We also have a data element title that's just kind of the abbreviated description. And then we have the full data element description that gives you the full details of what the variable represents. And then finally, the export name, which is the name that appears on the data file. So if you get the data in something like comma delimited format, that's the name that you see. And on this table, the new variables are highlighted in blue and the ones being removed are highlighted in orange. So first you'll see here that we do have a new base for current year population and households age 18 plus. That way you have a solid base for this. So if you want to calculate the percentage of LGBT population 18 plus in households, you can use that base variable. And then beyond that, we're replacing the old variables you'll see the data element name has a little H after the PP just to stand for population and households. And then we've added that household pop to the short description and population and households to the long description. However, we did keep the export names the same for the total LGBT and then the male and the female breakout, just to be aware of that. So next, on to our religion demographics. So in this case, the new sources include the 2020 U.S. Religious Census, the Public Religion Research Institute's American Values Atlas, and Claritas Business Facts data. Now, the big changes here are that this new model assigns everyone to a religion based on proximity to associated locations and other people. Now, obviously, we know that not everybody is religious, not everybody practices a religion. This model is really just trying to assign everyone to what their religion would be if they were religious based on this information. And the reason for that is because none of our sources really ask about or report data for non-religious people below the state level. So we just really didn't want to try to take a state level figure and apply that to every geography within the state because some areas could have different percentages and such. So we're really just trying to assign everybody. And we figured that would be appropriate for the uses of this data set because if you think about it, even if someone's not actively practicing a religion, they may still be likely to attend events at certain places or celebrate certain holidays with people around them. If they have friends or family that are celebrating a holiday at a party, they'll probably join in even if they're not actively practicing the associated religion. And as a result of these changes, we do have new metadata for this as well, which I will take you through again on the next couple slides. But again, the benefits here are we have these great fresh new sources, and they represent a combination of congregation, self-reported, and location data. Because the U.S. religion census is actually conducted by reaching out to various organizations and getting information on how many people belong to their congregations. And then the American Values Atlas surveys people about what their religion is. And then finally, Claritas Business Facts, of course, has business locations. So we've taken locations related to different religious organizations and used that in our model. All right, so here again, we have the metadata changes, and there are 2 slides here just to take you through everything. So you can see for the data element names, instead of abbreviating religion, we've just spelled it out to distinguish that this time. And then we kind of cleaned up some of the descriptions. For Roman Catholic, we removed the note about self-reports because, again, that's kind of implied with the new model as I just described it. Same thing with the Jewish population. And then you can see the export names. We've just updated those a little bit to use the religion name as best as possible. And then on the next slide, so with other Christian, we did add a couple additional descriptors because this does include historically Black churches, Jehovah's Witness. Also, Bruderhof is a other Christian religion. It's another group that used to be classified under the other religion, but that should be under other Christian now. And then other religion, this is the biggest change. Again, this no longer includes no religion because there's just not a good way for us to estimate that with the current sources. So we've just taken that out and cleaned up that description as well. Finally, on the new models is our Workday demographics. So the new sources here include local employer household dynamics, or LEHD data from the Census Bureau. So this really takes a look at people where they live versus where they work. So that gets you your commuting information. And then we also have the American Community Survey data. And we've also added in some Defense Manpower Data Center data to specifically cover military locations. So that's great because the LEHD data doesn't really cover those very well. Also here on the changes, one important thing is that the LEHD and ACS data don't separate the Asian alone and Black or African American alone populations by Hispanic and not Hispanic. Therefore, we have updated the titles and descriptions for those 2 variables to remove the not Hispanic description. We didn't change any of the other metadata. We've just taken that out. So just something to be aware of, but those descriptions are a little bit different. And also, we are no longer subtracting any of the group quarters population. We used to do that for specific types of facilities, but we figured that even if someone's in a facility and maybe they're not going to go out shopping, they could still have deliveries coming in or other people coming to visit them that might shop at the business on their behalf. So we decided not to remove those going forward. So again, the benefits here are we have these great fresh new sources and much more up-to-date information. All right, and then finally, I just have one other minor update that I just wanted to briefly talk about. So this affects the CultureCode Supplement to Pop-Facts, and specifically in Claritas 360. We have a very minor metadata update for the current year and 5-year percent of civilian labor force unemployed variables. And this only impacts the data element names, so you'll likely only notice this if you export data from our software. But you can see here that basically these 2 variables, you have the old name and the new name, and we're dropping the P off of the end of it. And the only reason for this is it's just a formality on our end because these 2 variables are also in our Pop-Facts Premier product. And because they're formula based, it's just easier for our systems to have separate names in different products. So this is really just to help us on the back end, and most people likely will not notice it. But I just wanted to call it out in case you do happen to notice it and are wondering why that happened. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please reach out to your Claritas representative and they'll be in touch and we'll get you whatever information you need. Hope you found this valuable. Thank you.